Folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Today we're having a Hasbro conversation update. And one of the things I've never really been a big fan of is on Wall Street, the way they do analysts and buy, hold, sell, strong buy, strong sell, market overperform, market neutral, market underperform. This whole thing with analysts assigning ratings to a publicly traded company has always been something that's been very, it's always been kind of, I always felt it was a dirty thing. I was never a big fan, but it's just is what it is. So today, on the news that more financial analysts are now placing buy ratings or outperform or market overperform, whatever terminology you want to use, with Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, and of course the gaming, digital gaming, board game, toy world, etc., etc. It's always funny because when these companies and these analysts say, it's terrible, destroying the golden goose of Magic, the stock tanks. And then by the time they tell you, hey, we're going to upgrade it, things are looking better. I mean, Hasbro stock, hit a low of the low 40s, and now it's back in the low 60s. Like, by the time these analysts make updates, make changes, post anything, the price is already swinging substantially, and like the easy money has been made has always been the joke on Wall Street. Now, again, full disclosure, I have always been a long-term shareholder. I do still have over 10,000 shares of Hasbro, and I've always believed in Magic and Wizards of the Coast long-term, even though they hate me, and we have a very love-hate toxic relationship. That is just the world we live in, and I still believe, even though I'm not a fan of the direction that WotC has taken Magic the Gathering, I cannot deny the proof and the facts that Universes Beyond, Secret Lairs, this whole direction they are taking Wizards with Magic and everything, it is working. I'm not a fan of that direction. I have to admit, if I was running the company, Secret Lairs would be the first thing to be axed. Number two, I would not be taking Magic in the direction of a bunch of IP crossovers where it feels like almost like Weiss Schwartz type of thing. But this is what they're doing. The data shows it's working. And no matter how you or I feel about it, the market is already kind of telling us that they're pretty happy with it. We have Fallout collector boxes approaching $700 a box. Maybe even higher with tax and shipping. We have, Doctor Who, Universes Beyond, collector boxes within, I think they're at the all-time high right now. We look at these things and we look what's going on, and look at Modern Horizons 3. The excitement, hype, Modern Horizons 3 collector boxes are an all-time high. The product is selling out like crazy. Assassin's Creed is coming up next, and I will go ahead and be blunt with you all. It's not really fully public yet, but word on the street is Assassin's Creed is going to have a very nasty type print run, very similar to Fallout, and everyone already was going into this under ordering it because everybody said Assassin's Creed was going to be the next, March of the Machine Aftermath epilogue because it's a small product and Wizards is going to screw it up without accepting the fact that Wizards saw what happened, made adjustments. They're using another company's IP. They cannot allow it to collapse and make the other company look bad. So we've already discussed this over and over with this modern direction. Now, bundle all that up together, and, Hasbro itself, to me, I always felt the whole Hasbro going to zero meme and the jokes of all this stuff collapsing and Magic failing was always an internet joke on this channel. At least I felt it was. I don't know how you all vibe with it. I didn't think that, hence why I always kept my large share position and added to it. I never really thought Magic would fail, but I thought that we would be in for this long lack of growth, very poor management direction. Now with Cynthia gone, and she's back to selling cigarettes to underage kids, and I don't know if that's true, and with the company making this drastic, aggressive shift in their print runs and supplies across the board, I just don't see substantial downside risk. Okay, and I've been saying in the last 6 to 8 months when we bottomed last year with Magic, all the data points that these adjustments, which again I was critical on the print runs with these companies. I kept saying these companies are overprinting. Wizards is going to overprint everything and just, they took the collector boxes and removed collectability by overprinting their own shit and collapsing it. Well, they actually ended up listening and they did adjust, and now they are taking it so seriously. I think even analysts in Wall Street with their digital sector, the board games, the toys, and with what they're doing with Amazon, I think it's going to work. And the future does still look very bright with Magic as a whole. I continue to vote with my wallet. I've shared with you all my massive positions of new Magic and what I feel is going on in the direction. I do believe that play boxes, once the market adjusts higher with draft boxes to match them, and I do believe that collector boxes are going to be really collectible and rare moving forward. I think the collector boxes being overprinted from that little couple year window during the COVID craziness, I think it will take time to flush those out, which we are now starting to see those signs. Hence, Baldur's Gate collectors back over 200 on TCG Player. We're seeing a lot of the things that collapsed. Actually, even Wildsville Drain collectors, 180s, 190s, 200, all-time high, up there in the 300s with Ixalan. All the products are doing really well. All of these collector products are sold out at distribution. And of course, there's a little bit of supply from third-party sellers on Amazon. And you have Hasbro Wizards selling direct on Amazon for the full $300-400 a box price, collecting tremendously large margins. And now we're going to go back talking about the Hasbro stock price thing. So remember, Wall Street and stocks like growth. That is the catnip. It doesn't matter if Hasbro reports 100 million profit, 100 billion profit. It doesn't really matter as long as the company is profitable, their cash flows are decent. The size of the profit isn't as big of a deal on Wall Street as growth. Growth is the catnip, aphrodisiac, crazy. That is the thing that gets the Timmy wound up, okay? The catnip is growth, okay? The second thing behind growth is usually margins. Margin expansion or margin contraction. And what I think is going to happen is Magic moving forward is going to have very slow state. I don't think we're going to have these huge negative numbers between Magic Arena and digital with paper Magic. I predict very subtle, like 1 to 5% growth a year when it comes to top line revenue and when it comes to actual growth of the player base. But being able to achieve that kind of expansion in that direction, not negative, and being able to reduce print runs, which reduces revenue. Remember, folks, companies don't like reducing print runs because the people who run the companies, that removes cash flow, and they need those huge checks to run and pay the labor, overhead, and payroll. That is the bloodline to the corporation. Remember that. What Hasbro Wizards has done is they have cracked the code and finally figured out that they can crash down, or just tank the print run, and they can make up, remember, whiteboard video, the dinosaur, remember? They can siphon products, sell them direct on Amazon for higher margins, and use that as leverage to reduce the overall volume of the product. That is what they've been doing now for many sets, and it's been extraordinarily successful when it comes to rare collectible products and versions of collector boxes, collector commander decks, and a lot of just normal things. And I think that's going to continue, okay? I think the actual... what's interesting is, like, the updates on some of these articles now with Hasbro is they're actually focusing more on recovery of the toy business, non-Magic, non-Hasbro. And, that was a very weak, crappy thing post-COVID, coming off of that boom and bust. And, we never really put much factoring into that when we talk about Magic and WotC on this channel. Because all we assume now is Hasbro is just entirely Wizards of the Coast supported. I mean, without Wizards, Hasbro's bankrupt, right? That was the joke, right? And based on what's going on, with Hasbro being able to readjust their supply, how much inventory they're sitting on, and make and produce the correct amount of tabletop board games and toys, Monopoly, if they're able to re-swing that to multi-million profitability on a monthly basis, not including digital stuff, not including D&D, not including Wizards of the Coast, not including paper Magic, that's a big deal. They took all the write-offs, which again are not really cash flow events, it's just a tax write-off, a kind of accounting thing. They took the write-offs and write-downs between their E1, all the stupid movie division shit that they did because they were morons. Those are all gone. The write-offs are gone, and you see the Timmy saying, oh, they lost billions. Rudy, how can they pay their dividend? How are they in business? They just wrote off this stupid company they bought and they sold. Nobody cares. It's dumb. They never should have done it. It's over with. And remember, Wall Street and Hasbro, anything like the past doesn't matter. All Wall Street cares about is the economy moving forward, and the stock market's in a bull market, whether you agree with it or not. That's what's going on. You know, what's the future numbers look like? Nobody cares that last quarter, 2 quarters ago, they wrote off or took $1 billion loss. Nobody cares. It doesn't mean anything on paper anymore. Moving forward, if they are making profitable, stable, expanding margins, which is like magic, print less, sell for higher margin, direct to consumer. If they have juicy margins that are not contracting, and they have even like 4% revenue or player-based growth, that is going to be a massive deal. And then you sprinkle in the toys, the Nerf, all the little My Little Pony stuff, all these other little things, and then of course the Monopoly board. If all of those other categories are stable, profitable, and you layer that on top, the future is that's why you're seeing the stock is not in the low 40s anymore. That's why you're seeing now the analysts, I guess we should update the stock because, that's what we do after something happens and we're late to the party. You see the kind of it's like a slow moving, painful thing. But my point of covering this to you all is, I'm just focused on the Magic situation. I'm focused on the paper Magic. I don't really care about Arena much. I don't really care about the digital thing. I don't really care about the Monopoly and the Monopoly Go. I don't care about Nerf and My Little Ponies and all that fun stuff. But I mean, the paper Magic is the backbone of Wizards, which is the backbone of Hasbro. And paper Magic in the last 8 to 9 months in this new cycle continues to be a fucking behemoth. And no matter what the internet wants to tell you, no matter how you feel and I feel, this is the data that it shows. I don't agree with the direction they're taking it. It doesn't feel like old man Rudy Magic, the blocks and the old style. And it doesn't feel like that with all these IPs and crossovers and everything, but it is working, okay? I wouldn't have done that again, but it is working, and the data is going to reflect that. It's not going to reflect how I feel and you feel. It's going to reflect the raw numbers. And Modern Horizons 3 was a fucking massive success, okay? Massive success. They can reprint the play boxes 3 more times over the next 2 years, and it's still going to be a massive success. The collector boxes, whether they release a little bit more to us, or they give us none of them, and the rest are on Amazon or whatever they do, it's already all-time high. I warned you all for the last 45 days, buy any collector box under $400 shipped, and, look at the demand. Look what's going on. Call it what you want. It did work, and now you factor that in. Then we have Assassin's Creed, which no matter, it's the next epilogue aftermath. Of course, Timmy. And then after that, you have the Bloomborough, pretty much like a Lorwyn type of Eldraine type of that kind of Morningtide type of Magic set. The Bloomborough thing is probably going to be incredibly successful for that more normal Magic vibe. I mean, look at Thunder Junction, okay? Look at Outlaws, okay? Look what happened with a Western set with that kind of theme. Look at the price of the play boxes. Look at the sell-through rate. Look at the collector boxes. They're out of print. They're done, and they're still holding up very well. And this is the softest, weakest part of the market that you will see for the collector boxes. Like people who missed out or, I'm going to wait for the crash. This is your window. Thunder Junction came out. We're past the hype. It's at that little window of softness where everybody's focused on the next thing. Modern Horizons 3, Assassin's Creed, Bloomborough, okay? That's what people are focused on. So you have like Thunder Junction. This is the time that people should be going back, focusing on a particular set that is kind of in that in-between where it's not old enough, like Ixalan or Wildsville Drain, where the collector boxes are heading to $300-$400, or they're already $300. They're heading to $350-$400 a box, okay? Thunder Junction is right in the middle of that. Again, I didn't mention Carlos Manor because that is the anomaly where the market rejected it and people just don't like the product. That's why I just, it is what it is. That thing has not recovered, hasn't tanked anymore. I think collector boxes are in like the 150s. And again, when you talk about the worst case scenario, I want to remind everybody something here, okay? When you look at all these modern products, okay? Let's go back, just look at the last 3, 4, 5 sets, okay? Fallout, Ravnica, Ixalan, should we do just standard sets or all of them? Whatever. And then, of course, Wildsville Drain and Thunder Junction and Carl of May. Like, when you look at these last, Ravnica Remastered, when you look at these last 6, 7 products, okay? Most of these things have moved up substantially, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% increase. Or Fallout's 100 and something percent, right? If you want to take the crazy context of the drama one. It's a little extreme, though. And, you know, when you take the last 7 products and you say, Rudy, what's the worst thing of why you should never buy cards? Karlov Manor. That's why. That was the down. So you're telling me the $200 collector boxes of Karlov Manor collapsed, and they're currently at $150. So a 25%, let's just round it to 30%. I don't even think it's 30. Let's just say 30%. 30% drawdown on a product that was rejected by the market. When you have the other 6 sets before and after it that are all doing incredibly well. In the worst case scenarios, you had a product come out and drop 25, 30%. Like, again, from a risk management standpoint, when you approach these different items, to me, that is incredibly attractive. Now, again, it's not as good as Pokemon. Pokemon booster boxes, I swear those things are like aliens or something, you know, but for Magic, that's awesome. Like, that's incredible. Imagine, like, having an asset or a stock or a piece of real estate that literally gets rejected and collapses and dumps and everything, and your downside risk is 30%. And then your upside risk is all the way as high as a home run product like a Fallout or Eldraine or Ixalan, which could be 50, 100, 200%. Like, what a beautiful fucking teeter-totter. Like, what downside risk? Karlov collapse. Yep, down 30%. Okay. What about these? Plus 20, plus 80, plus 60, plus 200, plus... Like, that is called risk management. That is the difference. And again, all of these situations, I still think it's going to take another year for the public to accept and realize this new era we're in. Because the public is usually the last... The Timmy is usually the last person to change attitude and shift emotions, okay? And I believe that the Timmy mindset and the anger towards Hasbro, Wizards, and Magic, and all these expensive price, all this stuff, that is the last thing to tip on the tipping point scale, okay? That, when, like, I always want to say, when the Timmys finally come around to saying, yeah, things are great, the easy money's probably already been made. Usually Timmys are 6 months to maybe up to 2 years late to the party. Okay, it's like we had the 2-year crash, 2022, all of 2023, with the S&P 500, the bear market from the peak of May of 2021 was the COVID peak with crypto, S&P, and NASDAQ. So again, you have like a 2-year drawdown negative bear market. Okay, most Timmys don't buy into that. Most Timmys now are saying, you know what? The market keeps hitting highs. We're in the biggest bubble of all time. I guess now I got to start buying, right? Because if the market tanks, the Fed will print. If the market goes higher, the Fed will print. Gee, welcome to the modern world. Took you long enough? Enjoy the gift basket on the way out. Nobody gives a shit.